sort of be foolish to mess with. That's sort of what's got us 5 seasons. So I think we'll stick with the basic idea of what the show has been. And of course, you're always going to find new little things to implement, and there's going to be some new characters. And, they'll just try to shake it up in different ways. But I think the backbone of it is going to stay pretty consistent. Try to keep them laughing. That's all they try to do.
Do you guys know what kind of audience you have now? You've been doing it long enough, so you kind of know what works and what don't work?
Yeah, I think last season was our best season. I think that the writers figured something out, and the actors figured something out, and it just clicked. I think it all came together last year. When we were doing it, we sort of felt that. And then watching it, it all looked better. And then even the feedback you get from some of the fans and stuff, you hear that a lot. This season is by far the best. So, you feel when it's good. You feel when it's good. And you feel when it's bad. You can't do a good one every time. Sometimes you struggle through them. That's just the way it goes.
Do they know you when they come in the room now? They start hollering at you and all of that. When it was before, it's like...
I still get a little bit of that. I still get a little bit of the, who's that guy? A lot of that. I don't mind that, though.
Well, since you say last season may have been the best, is there any pressure for you guys to have another great season?
I don't know about pressure. I think if there is pressure, I don't think it falls on us as the actors. At least, we don't put that pressure on ourselves. We can only do what the writers give us. We try to put ourselves into it and then create something else. When it's not there, we try. You have to put yourself into it. But I think the writers and Tom and Doug probably feel more of the pressure than we do, because they're the ones creating these shows. But no, not really. I think if we can just keep doing what we're doing, we'll be all right. The tough part is each year you lose people. We lost some good writers this last year, which is a good thing because they get to go and pursue. They got their own gigs. And, they're making their money and advancing their career, so it's good. But you have to fill those spots. And these first 2 have been good, so you never know. It's a funny business. You never know.
You guys don't improv at all? Because David was saying that sometimes you'll say to him, "What do you think about a joke?"
Yeah.
Do you feel like you need to?
Yeah, you do it in rehearsals a little bit. Sometimes we'll be rehearsing and come up with something. We do the run through for the writers, throw it in there and see how it plays. Spade did that today, actually, and it didn't go over too well. He threw another line in, and it wasn't much of a laugh. And he did one of his little spade baits. So you try it, you try, but during the actual taping, you don't really, you don't go off on any sort of crazy improv tangent or anything. So the writers should listen to the scripts.
Is there anything about your character that you want to see implemented this season that you're going to try then in a rehearsal or in a read-through?
If I was to change anything about my character, and there's not much I would because it works for the show, But basically, what's happened with my character is I started off as sort of, the glass is half full kind of guy. I was very optimistic with the beautiful things in life, refused to look at the negative, which was fine. It was good. And it sort of devolved to dummy, dimwit, borderline, institutionalized guy, which is fine because it's worked and it's funny, but in watching the shows last year, the stuff that didn't play for me, to be honest, was the really real moronic stuff, to where a line is said and I don't understand it flies right over my head and I have to do some dumb expression and look like a complete moron, where our castmates are even looking at me like, like, Jesus, it's stupid. Shit that my son who's 3 years old would completely understand. So there's that. But I so far in these first 2, I haven't felt anything like that because they see it too. You see, and in last year too, some of that stuff is even cut in the episode. So, that if I was to wish for anything to change, I like being a dummy. I like being put into the dumb situations that I get myself into. But when it comes to sort of the just blatant, stupidity, I don't know. played as well as I thought it might when I'm doing it. You know?
When that situation happens with an actor, what's going on in your mind? I mean, should you say something or should you not say something so you won't offend the writer or whatever?
I think it's just it's a personality situation. You know, some actors, at the first sign of something, they have to voice their opinions, and you know, they feel very connected to the fact that they don't like it. For me, you know, if it's working, if we're doing good shows, if I'm still getting paid, you know, everything's okay with me.
Yeah, because how much of it's
but
really...
there comes a point when you don't want to do it anymore. And I've said stuff. I said, yeah, I don't know if the stupid stuff works. But I would never in my life, I feel too lucky to be here in this position, doing 5 seasons on a show. I would never get upset about it, ever. I don't mind doing it that much, But the question was, would I change anything? So I guess that would be it. But no, I'm fine with it, really.
Well, what I meant was, how much of it is acting, and then, okay, so it's acting, so it's not really me.
Right.
But I still have to do this ridiculous thing. So, where's the balance in that as an actor?
Yeah, well, it's less about, for me, it's less about a personal thing looking stupid. Because we come here to do comedy and sitcom, and you have to look like an asshole. You have to look stupid. I mean, that's part of what the job is, really. You have to sort of, the fear has to go away. And you try something, and if it's terrible and it's crickets and no one's laughing, it's sort of like, okay, let's try that again. So it's less about the personal ego thing than it is about sort of the character and where it's going, in relationship to everybody else. And you also have to factor in my wife. I mean, I've got this beautiful girl, Bianca, who is supposed to like me and want to be married to me. And does she want to be married to some dimwit? I mean, does that work? At some point, if everything's flying over my head as a woman, won't you say, get that guy in here, I can't deal with your complete moronic, So they have to sort of figure that one out too.
One last point on that. In terms of actors being difficult to work with and all of that, is it easier to just go whichever way the wind blows as opposed to taking a stance and then maybe the writers will say, okay, he's got a point?
I think if you have a valid point, then you have to look at it. It's about situational too. We're doing a sitcom. We're having a great time doing it. It's a lot of fun. We're laughing. We're not creating anything that is really important, to be honest. It's important to make people laugh, for them to have a good time. But in terms of the importance of what we're doing now, if I was doing a movie where it was a hardcore character and I really believed in what this guy needed to do to get to a certain place, and there was some creative differences and I didn't like that, and then that's a whole different situation. But when it comes to this, it's a light atmosphere. You might as well keep it light. There's no reason to get rattled, really. There's no reason. We're here to have fun at the end of the day and say these good lines that they provide us. And if you have a problem, you got to say something. But if it means that much to you, so far, I haven't really said much.
So your character has been kind of dumbed down. I mean, has it affected you in your daily life? Because some fans will see a character on TV, but then when they see you in person, they kind of maybe feel that you are that person.
Right.
And my second question to that is, do you think that maybe this will affect any role that you might see yourself going for in the future?
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes, for the people I know, or acquaintances with, I play a lot of golf. I'm a member of the club. And, I get people hollering at me on the golf course, slang that I can't even say here. Talking about me, like, hey, you need to stop being messed up. Stuff like that. And then I have other fans or people who I, meet or come up to me and I talk to them for a minute and they're like, oh, you're not really that stupid. No, I hope not, So I think sometimes it affects perception, and that's fine. But to the other question, I don't know if it necessarily pigeonholes me. I mean, it might. This is something that as an actor, again, you do for the camaraderie and you have fun doing it, and it's great fun and you get to laugh. In terms of advancing my career, it's not one of those shows. If I was on, some cool, successful cop show where I got to carry a gun and had a 5 o'clock shadow and shot people and made love to beautiful women at the end of the episode, and worked out and my shirt off was all ripped. That might work out. I might at the end of the day, I'd be like, yeah, that guy should be in my next movie. But I'm not playing that guy. So it's not really giving me any good opportunity.
No, but do you think that the show wouldn't be the show if, like, you weren't your character?
Sure.
David wasn't, that I
Right.
can't get a girlfriend or don't want a girlfriend. If you became smarter in the show,
Right.
and David got a girlfriend,
Right.
what we discussed earlier,
Yeah.
how would that change? Do you
I think you lose it. I think you're right. I think you lose the show. I mean, I think that's part of what it is. You have to maintain sort of the balance there. If David does have a girlfriend, it's got to end pretty quick. He can't fall in love. It's like, do we get married? There already is a married couple. But then you got to take some chances too. The problem is we are in a fear-based business. All of us, everyone fears for their jobs, especially in the entertainment world. So our writers are gonna get creative, but to a point, because they have people watching over them. So they need to sort of maintain what's gotten us to this point. They don't want to go nuts, and all of a sudden, break Bianca and I up, and I become homeless, and Spade, finds a girlfriend, and decides to like dudes. I mean, then it just turns into something else. So even though it may be good, it may be fun to do and funny, but at the end of the day, they got to just sort of keep the balance.
Maybe do like it could be the future kind of episode.
Right? Yeah, that'd be fun. A futuristic one.
You guys must have really had the backing of the network to make 5 seasons. That's getting to be a rarity these days.
I know. We're lucky. We're lucky. And this is our first full pickup, first fall launch, which is great. I think we deserve it. We've sort of played in the trenches for a while, and we've done really well. We've always pulled good numbers, and sort of to our detriment in a way, only because we've become a utility player. They know what we can do, so they'll put a new show in, see how it does. If it doesn't work out, pull that show off, put rules of engagement in, because we know what kind of numbers they're going to do. But they know what they're doing. CBS has a plan, and I think this plan might work, actually. We've gained a good fan base, and now, boom, we're going to come on in the fall with a built-in sort of fan base, and hopefully this is going to be a good launch.
Well, does that give you a game plan for the next project you want to get into? Since you've been with a successful one, you kind of know what works and what don't work. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just getting a job these days is hard. It's a tough place for the business right now. Even in our hiatus, I had 2 meetings for movies. There's just nothing going on. I mean, it's tough. So we'll get through this one and then figure it out. I don't know what's going to happen.
Thank you.